Okay, welcome everybody. Today I am here with my long-term pal, Sri-part. Woo! Yeah. So I met him 18 years ago when I was interviewing him for a job at my previous company, and we've stayed in contact with each other for nearly 2 decades after that interview. You didn't accept our job, and you kept going on. He ended up going on and getting a PhD in chemical engineering and a professional MBA program. So he's good for the classes that I teach because it's both business and engineering type stuff. So he's been involved with, he started his career at a startup company because he wanted that experience, which is great. Then he moved on to some Fortune 500 companies, some big companies like Emerson, I think you said, ABB, and most recently Vico Instruments. I think always doing product development and getting into like the whole stage gate product process of taking an idea and bringing it to an actual product. So that's why I've invited him here, because he is an expert on that stuff. So I will turn it over to you, my man.
Hey, Clint, appreciate it. Thanks for considering me for this particular topic. Happy to join, hop along with you, and share whatever wisdom I've accumulated along these many years. Very insignificant compared to yours, Dr. Ballinger, Professor Ballinger. But really, I'm very happy and proud that I met you whenever I did two decades ago, and but yeah, again, thanks for having me over here. So I'm really happy for this particular cause, Clint, because I've been a long-time student myself. Besides learning continuously, we're all continuing students. Also I've had my share of spending good time in a university at Iowa State. I went to school in Iowa State, also in IIT Chicago, which is where I did my master's. So I love students. Today's students are exceptionally smart. They have a lot of tools with them that we didn't have. And what's amazing is that they're utilizing those tools appropriately. And I'm very happy to talk to students. And if any of the wisdoms that are, or any of the knowledge that I'm sharing today is going to be of any help to any of your students, I'll be most proud of it. So I'm very happy. Thanks again.
Yeah, sure. Once the pandemic ends and we could be face to face again, I'll have you up to class.
I'll be happy to stop by, greet the students personally, and answer any questions they might have personally as well. But yes, actually, on the product life cycle side, or the stage gate process side, I don't want to accept your generous comments here in terms of saying that I'm an expert. But yes, that's what I've been doing for the last 15 years. I have thoroughly enjoyed that particular function of the roles that I've had. It's a fairly significant and an involved aspect that any product manager would be doing in his or hers activities within any organization, and it could be of any size as well. The flavors will vary. We can get into that. The type of stage gate process, the length of it, the criteria involved, the attributes are going to have different features or attributes based on the industry. But overall, the scope of it is going to be the same. The objectives and the end goal is going to be the same. But we can go through the details of it.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite part of it? Like, and do you go from invention all the way to product launch typically when you do stage gate process?
Yeah. So when a stage gate process gets kicked in, it depends on what type of a chair you're sitting on. Are you a stakeholder, a major stakeholder? Are you a project sponsor himself? So all of these depends on how much you're going to be involved throughout the process. So what happens is, and that's why I love product management that much, is because you're pretty much involved all the way from phase 0 to phase 7, or depends, phase 4, and all the way through the exiting the process. Mostly product managers, marketing folks are involved all through. And if you are on the operations side, if you're on the engineering side, quality side, you come in later on in the process.
So you get marketing people involved early on in the process.
Yeah, it all starts. Phase 0 is market research.
Okay.
So phase 0 is market research, and that's where you determine the entire TAM, SAM, or the total available market, or the serviceability available market, and then go forward from there to see if you have an idea that's worth exploring. So, and then you kick off with the idea generation or feasibility analysis.
At big companies you work for, do they do a lot of customer discovery? Meaning, like, do they have this idea for this product? They've looked at the market. Do they go out and talk to actual customers and say,
yes.
"Hey, okay"?
So it's in other words, it's called voice of customers.
Voice of customers.
Voice of VOC. Another terminology that's associated with that is, in a lot of big companies, marketing teams or product managers might not have direct access on the customer side. So their customers are the sales teams themselves, who's the front line. So it's called VOS in that case, the voice of sales. So because they capture all the ideas, insights from their customers, and it's the product managers or the marketing members' responsibilities from then on to decipher or elicit the information, capture the right information from the sales team, and then bring it on internally, and then expand further. Now I have experience on both sides, dealing directly with the customers as well as dealing with the sales as well. So a lot of times, depending on the size of the company, organization, the type of industry, a lot of your students will get used to dealing with both the sales, which is going to be critical, as well as the customers. Both are going to be an important critical piece.
Yeah, that's good, because a lot of time I think that's overlooked, because people they go to school for engineering or something like that, and they're like, never have to talk to a customer, but that's key. Even right after you've invented something, you gotta.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's make it clear. I mean, customer. How do we define a customer, right? Even if they get into a hardcore engineering type of a profile, they still have to deal with customers. It could be internal customers. Their customers are going to be folks like myself, marketing, product managers. Their folks are going to be operations. Their customers are going to be sometimes even the customers themselves as well.
Yeah.
Because they'll be on calls, on customer calls, sometimes hearing out various product issues. So being able to work with the customers is going to be a critical aspect.
Yeah, that's good. So do you have you use different stage gate processes, I guess, in the minutia, like at each different company that you work for?
Yeah.
And but they're all basically the same?
No. So that's a great question, Clint. So every company has their own version of stage gate process. And more so it differs more, especially if there are different industries as well. With industry to industry, it differs more. But the overall idea is the same. People like jargons, especially in our business schools, we all like to use jargons. But it's very important to simplify things down, because as a company, the main objective is to generate or design or build or manufacture products, and then ultimately sell and make money for the company and make the business profitable. Now, the question is, what kind of products do you want to build? What level of quality does it needs to have? What type of customers are going to be able to use it? What volumes are those customers going to be buying your products? So all of these are the thoughts that needs to go into the stage gate process. I think, customers are key, and then the ideas that you develop as part of the market research is going to be critical. That's your foundation.
And then you're going through this whole process with a a decent sized team, and then the team probably changes as well as you get more mature in the process, like you get into quality control and scale up and things like that, and that's different than the early marketing team.
Yeah. So here's the thing. So when you're strictly talking about a phase gate process, there is a constant team members. There's a constant number of team members that are identified as part of the stage gate process. These are the stakeholders. There'll be a project sponsor as well throughout the gate meetings, and that's going to be constant in all the gate reviews or the exit reviews. Now, in the background, each teams, whether it's engineering, whether it's marketing, they'll all go off on their own and they'll be doing stuff parallelly. They'll be, you call it different processes, sprint processes, scrums. They'll be going off with their own teams, and a lot of meetings will be going on in parallel as well. Mm-hmm. But what's relevant to the stage gate process, it's going to be a constant size of individuals or a team. A couple of people from marketing, a product manager, a couple of people from engineering, operations, quality, and they're going to remain constant all through the process.
Got it.
And I think, I'm sorry, I probably didn't close or complete on the previous one as well. So the processes or the stage gate process itself varies from company to company, depending on the industry and the organization, like I mentioned, the product size. Like I said, the initial idea, the end idea is the same. You're building the product to sell. How do you get the business to profitability? And then the steps in the middle, steps 2, 1, step 0, or the phase 0 is your market research. Step 1 onwards, which is the idea generation or the feasibility analysis. After that, a lot of steps can vary based on the organization. Some have the engineering and design review, and that particular phase itself has different iterations in itself, and some end with just operations on how you actually plan to mass produce your products, and some actually also end with launch as well as production. So me coming from marketing, typically I've started off with the market research, so where marketing is a critical part of it, and also ended with the last gate, which is everybody signs off, okay, it's good to launch, and then we end with marketing as well as operations as well.
So you've had an interesting career. So you basically have started way early on in your career in marketing instead of like chemical engineering type stuff.
Actually, no. If you remember, when you and I met, I was in the last year of my master's, or second year of my master's, third, fourth semester in Chicago. And that particular research that I did is what actually got me into nanotechnology. That's the area that I wanted to do, nanotechnology.
Yeah.
I actually published papers, international peer-reviewed papers, first author papers during my master's itself.
Gotcha.
And then I started my career in a startup company.
Yep.
And I was in R&D.
Oh, okay.
I was in R&D for 3 years, but because of a startup environment, I got to wear multiple hats.
Yep.
So I understood how research and development works. I understood how funding is brought in. I understood how the products are designed and brought to market, if done in a good way, and kind of also understood the loopholes based on the resources, based on the expertise of the startup team. So that was a significant piece for me. That was a great value add, which actually prompted me to pursue my PhD and make sure that I also add an MBA along with that part of my startup experience.
That's great that you had that experience and you were able to sort of see that value of the other side of things, not just the R&D part, but the voice of the customer and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I published a lot of papers even before I started my PhD. So during the startup gig, I published close to a dozen papers, international papers.
Oh, wow.
It was started by scientists from Iowa State, very, very strong in science, scientific research. and we were building these first in market, products. So it was all